Hello everyone and welcome to episode 20 of the Disney Infinity and Beyond Webcast. I'm Roger here in the United Kingdom and we have Abe there in Surrey, California.
Hello, everybody.
Hi everyone. This week we are pretty close to Christmas. It's now just next week and we thought it was going to be a bit of a quiet time for Disney Infinity, but we've had a few little bits of news this week. We've also got new Inside Out trailer that dropped down from Disney, so we thought we'd have a quick look at that and share our thoughts. And we've been sent quite a few questions from our readers and listeners, and so we're going to try and answer those about Disney Infinity. So I think that pretty much wraps up what we're going to do in this episode. So before we start doing that, just a quick reminder, if you want to hit that subscribe button on YouTube, if you're on iTunes or anything like that, hit the subscribe button and check us out at VinomationKingdom.com. So that's the plugs done. And we've also got a fantastic competition running this week where VinomationKingdom.com is giving away a Xbox One Toy Box Starter Pack, which includes Stitch and Merida. All you have to do is go onto VinomationKingdom.com, find the link, and I'll put in the comments below anyway. And you can just enter, and we'll be giving that away this week. So that's the last of our competitions. So big thank you to Disney for giving us those to give away to our viewers and readers. I think that knows that. Abe's nodding his head, so that's a good thumbs up. Yeah, we go. So yep. Okay, and speaking of thumbs up, you can always give this video a thumbs up as well. That always helps. Right. Okay, so last week the big news of the week was the Spider-Man variant announcement. This figure, we did ask, I think everyone did ask the question to JV about this figure becoming available as a single release, and pretty much the answer, as I expected it to be, is we do not have plans at present to release this as a single figure, which is exactly what I thought was going to happen. They can't announce that this is going to be available separately until after the Vita starter pack is released in May. If they do that now, that will kill off all the sales of this starter pack. So currently, that seems to be the only way of getting him.
Yeah, I feel like if they ever do release some single, it's not going to be until 3.0.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's going to be a late release, kind of like Crystal Mickey. So
yeah, no, I think that's about right. One thing I didn't notice until a few days later was the base on that Vita pack actually is slightly different, because it's a Bluetooth version, but it's a single player version. There's only one place for one figure and a hexagonal disc, so they've taken away the second player spot. I didn't realise that.
Interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't notice that myself. No.
Well, I would just love that to be able to work with an iPad. I think that would be amazing. That's the one thing I keep thinking. I just keep going, this could work for something else a lot bigger down the line because they've now got the technology. It's done, but that's for later. We'll worry about that later. Also, this week it seems that when the originals version came out in November, Disney were giving away 2 free Toy Box game discs if you bought them online, and they seem to be arriving at people's houses after the people filled in the forms. We've had a few people from our Facebook group basically saying and showing us pictures of them arriving. So if you haven't already done so, make sure you fill that form out to get them if you did buy the digital version. And we don't know how many of those 10,000 discs have been claimed. It's always worth putting it in if you do buy the digital version.
Yeah, one thing I did notice was that they got a little web card with the 2 discs, something that the starter packs did not have.
Well, you do get a card with Stitch and Merida on the Toy Box starter pack, so you get it's probably a code that unlocks all of it at once rather than individually.
I gotcha. I see the difference. Yeah, that's what I was gonna actually touch on. Like, I noticed that was specifically just for the game disc, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah. So, but then that would make sense if you buy when the game discs come out as a separate pack next year, they could have them as separate web cards.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool. So those were the 2 things. The other thing that literally dropped a couple hours before we recorded this was the new Best Buy album for Spider-Man, which it's another huge, great big power disc album, and that pretty much follows all the other retail exclusives with 5 Spider-Man themed. We've got the Spider-Man Rare, we've got the White Tiger event disc, we've got the costume change, the Black Spider-Man change, and then we've got the Spider Streets and the Spider Sky terrain and Skydome.
That's now the fourth one, right? Fourth.
Yeah, that's yeah, we've had the Guardians of the Galaxy, and we've had the.
It's Guardians of the Galaxy at GameStop. You have the
Disney
two different
one?
original.
Yeah, so this is the fourth one that we've seen of these albums. I think they're a pretty cool idea, actually. If you haven't got those spiders, there's you've got 3 discs there that I consider to be quite valuable, now being given away. That it might even be cheaper to buy this just to get those 3 power discs, especially those Spider-Man trains, because that one is going over here for silly prices on eBay. So that is a one thing just to look out for if you just need those discs. Then you get that Spider-Man rare.
Unfortunately, these still do not accommodate to the other discs that will be coming out as well. But yeah.
I think it's interesting they went the idea that I can see why they've pushed them out like a month after the blind bags got released, because if they released them on the day, no one would have brought the blind bag. So
yeah,
it's an extra way of doubling in and getting some things. I'm still that kind of concerned of the fact that they're giving away the rares, because I still feel like that encourages the use of buying the blind bags, but it also shows one thing. If you have got the patience to hold out, you can save something a bit later on, because in hindsight, if I hadn't have brought most of these discs off of eBay within a couple of weeks after sets got released. If you'd waited, I could have maybe saved some money and got these packets instead, but hindsight and all that.
And a nice little plug to our Facebook group, because we have members who will actually not overcharge you and trade you the rares. So, anyways,
and I think in general this will push down the price of most of those rares anyway, because if anyone, it's going to be a lot easier for people to get hold of them.
Now, I don't know if it's happening in the UK, but out here in the States, I've been noticing ever since these albums have been coming out, there's been a lot of blind pack sales. Right now, Toys R Us has a buy one get one free. A while back, they had like buy 2 get 1 for free, and all the retailers are doing it. So
yeah, they take a while for the UK to kind of kick through. They're still trying to flog off the cheaper ones or the series 1s, 2 and 3s from last year. Everything seems to be more aimed around the figures. I mean, this year, this Christmas, with not only have you got Trap Team, but there's Amiibo just seems to be flying off the shelves. People just going nuts for them. So that's the new one. There's got to keep their eye on. I think Amiibo is the one that's really come in and just. I think I read something like they've done $700 million worth of sales in like a couple of weeks on figures alone, and some of the figures are just like gold dust. I mean, I was in my local game store and I only saw one figure on the shelf, and even they've put the price up a couple of pound, like $5, because they've all sold out. So they just thought, well, whatever we've got, we can just whack the price up, which is a bit mean before Christmas, but
Out here in my area, you can't seem to find the villager from Animal Crossing. Like, he's nowhere to be found.
Yeah, I think there's a few that are kind of quite rare, and there's been sort of conflicting reports coming through of certain ones are not coming out again, and then Nintendo saying, well, they are coming out again, and then they're coming. Another person saying no, they're not. But in all honesty, some of those characters I could see, well, they don't need to be around long term. Mario and stuff need to be around continuously. But things like those villagers, I can see why, if they want to create some buzz about new figures, give that chance that one of them might not be around very long, makes people go nuts for them. Look at how Violet and Syndrome were from Series 1, with people thinking that it's a slightly more rarer figure. Even though they're all sort of available still now, but people still sort of see those figures as slightly more rare because not every store has them.
You know what, and I know it's not part of our discussion points, but you tap onto something with Syndrome and Violet. I've been noticing that GameStop has recently been putting up their resold figures that they've bought back, and I've been spotting some Syndromes and Violets. So if anybody's still looking for them, head to GameStop. So
yeah, There was also a quick thing on the actual official Disney Infinity forums asking about Kingdom Hearts. Now, Kingdom Hearts is a new game that's coming out on the PlayStation 3. Why? It's like I saw it and I thought, oh, that's quite cool. And then I saw PlayStation 3 and I was like, I've sold that console. I haven't got that anymore. I was like, why didn't they release it on the PlayStation 4? But anyway,
Wait, which game are they releasing on PlayStation 3?
Kingdom Hearts, the new 2.5 or something like that.
Oh, okay. 2.5 is basically a reissuing of past ones. I know Kingdom Hearts 3, which has been long awaited, is for PS4.
Yeah. There's a lot of people. There was a couple of questions about having a lot of requests for the Kingdom Heart figures, and they said there are currently no plans for this, but we've passed along all of this information to the developers just in case. But keep an eye out for announcements. Now, It wouldn't surprise me if we saw Kingdom Heart figures later down the line of the characters that aren't the sort of the Japanese characters.
The Final Fantasy characters, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't expect any of them in there either.
Nah.
Unless they're the made up ones, possibly. But if anything, probably variants of the Disney figures as their Kingdom Hearts versions.
It just purely depends on if they get a deal together to do it. And I would imagine if there's money to be made, things happen a little bit more quicker. Right, so that is all the news for the week. Not a huge amount. We do expect it to sort of slow down a bit. Yeah. There was another bit of Disney news that came out this week, and it was the new Pixar trailer for the new movie that comes called Inside Out, which is out in I believe it's in June. It's the new summer movie for Disney next summer. So the trailer kicked off, and there is essentially we've got 3 people, and we then look inside of their heads, and we've got these like 5 different characters inside your heads, and they're all basically different sort of feelings, their emotions. So I've put up a picture here of the poster of the 5 characters. Now these are all, I believe, in the child's head. Now there's
it's the girl's head, yeah.
Yeah, we had in the trailer we have the mum, the dad, and the daughter all sat around the table, and they're all just having a normal family discussion. But when you put the emotions inside, it is extremely funny. Looks a lot of fun. I'm just showing up you here the picture. So we got the there we go. So let's take off the billboard. So we've got sadness, which is this little blue little girl with glasses. We have disgust, which is like a green sassy emotion with a neckerchief and just kind of giving all of that sort of ugh. And we also have where is it? Let's see here. We got rid of sadness. Let's get rid of disgust. We have joy. So she's the yellow one. She's sort of happy and got blue hair. Fear is kind of like this little Weasley little guy with a bow tie. And then my favourite has to be anger. This red guy with fire coming out of him, and I just think he's fantastic. He's the one character that stood out from that trailer for me alone. Yeah,
it's definitely going to be really awesome. It's basically the premise is the whole thing is the little girl. I believe a family moved from if I remember correctly, I think it's Minneapolis, Minnesota, and they moved to San Francisco, California.
Yeah.
And she's just basically adjusting to the move, and it's essentially the 5 emotions that control the thought and and what reactions come by. But Amy Poehler does the voice of I believe Joy. Bill Hader does Fear. Phyllis, I don't know what her real name is, but from the American version of The Office does Sadness. But anyways, it looks really cool. I do see those 5 emotions as possible figures.
Yeah.
And it would be kind of cool because, like you said, anger would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, it was my first reaction when I first saw it was there seems to be a lot of characters because you had the 3 humans, and then you had 3 sets of emotions. So there was 18 characters in that trailer to begin with. So I instantly thought, well, there's loads of characters here. How are they going to fit them all in? The humans aren't going to make very interesting figures because they don't do it. They're just normal, average Joe humans. And then reading a little bit more into it, the way that they're promoting these 5 characters seems to be that, as you say, I think to see those 5 as the main characters would make sense as figures. And the first thought of my head now went, all of them as townspeople. That was the first instant reaction, was they could make townspeople of all of these characters so easy. And also, because one thing I did notice in the trailer was the father's emotions. They've all got moustaches. They've all got to represent the same as the dad. The mum had almost a completely different set of emotions. They looked completely different. The son, or the daughter and the dad, had exactly the same characters, but just with a moustache. But the mum had almost, they looked all completely different. But yeah, like I said, I think without doubt we're going to see some Inside Out stuff in 3.0 or in the next game.
Yeah, you know what though? I think what was funny too is if you really are like intuitive and really pay attention how Pixar, like kind of like wizards, if you notice, there's 5 emotions in each of the characters' heads. But if you look at the mom, it's the sadness emotion that's controlling the 5.
Yeah.
And the dad's, I believe it was anger who was controlling the 5. And then the girl, obviously, all 5 of them were making decisions at once, even though you only saw 3 of them making decisions. But it's really cool. I think it's like you said, it's a lot of characters, but I definitely think it's just those 5 in the little girl's mind, because I think the whole story evolves in her brain.
Yeah,
those would be the possible figures if we get any.
Yeah, I think without that we're going to see something from Inside Out in the new game. It's out in the summer. The new game will be promoting around the summer. Even if it's just townspeople, a playset, sort of not even a playset, but toys, and even just some power discs. At the very least, that would be my minimal expectations for the next game of this movie. Is just that alone.
I was going to agree with you there, because when I first heard of this movie back in 2013 at D23, they had concept art of different parts of the brain.
Yeah.
And they made it look like places you would actually visit, and I think a sky dome using something like that would be pretty sick. So
I mean, it would be great to see if there's a playset. I mean, a playset for this with the 5 characters. They're gonna make a load of money. Pixar also have a history of working with Disney earlier. They have got when they did the first game, they were very dominant. You had Cars, you had Monsters University, you had Toy Story, The Incredibles. All 4 characters of them were all Pixar related. Now, also here's the other thought that I had: we didn't get any Pixar stuff other than Brave in 2.0, which has meant that they've had a whole year where their teams maybe have been working on stuff for their Pixar product, because they haven't been paying any attention to, because for 2.0 they didn't really have as much out for it.
I was going to say, we're also tapping into a completely different webcast, but we didn't have a Pixar film at all this year, and that's because Good Dinosaur was pushed back because of story issues. So they could have been working on Good Dinosaur, but unfortunately had to push it back. Yeah,
but also, I mean, that's the thing as well. With 2.0, there was no Pixar product. Well, there was no Pixar other than Toy Story, the Christmas one with the dinosaurs this year. They haven't had any new product out. So Disney Infinity is built around making new products out for new video games straight away. We've seen it with Big Hero 6, Frozen. So I think I've got 3 mindsets. There's either going to be just townspeople, a few things, and some power discs like Gravity Falls, like we had this year. You're going to see a couple of toy box characters only, or alternatively a play set with the characters. Those are my 3 theories of where I see it. I don't see it not being in the game, because they've been working on this for years. It's the thing is with movies like this is they take years to develop, so nothing is done like this. It's not all just this has been in, like you were talking about seeing these sketches 2 years ago, so they've had time to work on it. So
absolutely.
Fingers crossed, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on Inside Out. What do you think might be coming to Disney Infinity in the future? And comment below. and that'll be great. Love to hear what everyone thinks of that.
Playsets.
Yeah, come on. I mean, everyone will just be, give us a Disney playset. You
Yeah.
know, it's like, guys, you got 6 months. Hire some people. Right. Okay. So, right, before we go on to the questions and answers, let's have a quick look here through this week's toy boxes. This week's toy box, the Disney Infinity team put out another one called San Fran Shakedown, where you have a secret weapon to the Fusinator, where you have to paint a city. I thought that was cool. I really enjoyed that one. Did you ever go at any of these toy boxes?
Yeah, I had to go at a couple of them. One of them was yours truly. I mean,
Yes.
yours obviously.
Yeah.
but I'll talk about the other one that I fell in love with. It was so cool. But go ahead.
Yeah, so that was the one that was to do with, that wasn't part of the challenge. The other ones were all Gravity Falls themed. So we had the Gravity Falls Adventures by X Shadow 246. Sorry, help Dipper and Mabel sneak into Uncle Stan's secret lab to uncover a secret theme park. You had the Gravity Games Mocking Gnome, which is a tribute to the season 1 by the Baroness S89. Blender's Game, was it Walt Disney? By grow into the future and compete against other people in Globular Laser Tag, but needs 2 to 4 players. That was the one I didn't play. And then the Witch of the Woods in the Gravity Falls, the Baroness as well. So she got 2 in there this time. The Witch has come to wreak havoc on the Pine Twin Can You Beat Her 3 challenges. And there's a bonus golf cart. And finally, there is the Gravity Falls Mystery Tour Ride by me. In this recreation of the Gravity Falls Mystery Tour Ride, you can race through the mystery on a golf cart. So those were the toy boxes. Now for some reason there was one there that I did actually have to play a hell of a lot while building it. But okay, so I've put up videos of a couple of the those toy boxes already on the channel. I did think the Witch in the Gnome was the Witch of the Woods was a really cool one. That was a lot of fun. And the San Fran Shakedown was a really cool toy box. That was a lot of fun. Gravity Falls Adventure, which was the number 1.
The theme park?
Yes. Unfortunately for me, it was full of glitches. And now I'm going to be completely honest. This wasn't the user's fault. There is no doubt about it. This was I think it probably all worked perfectly. And I think once it got spewed out onto the things, because the same thing happened to my toy box, something didn't work. And the characters weren't being created, and then on the roller coaster, the actual trolleys or the whatever thing you're supposed to get on weren't there. So it was it just didn't. I don't know. Did you have that same problem?
Yes, and actually I really, really enjoyed this one. Yeah, there was some glitches in there. I did like the fact, though, that part of the story still worked. You had to keep pushing X to read it. But once you got to the coaster, I was like, okay, where's the coaster? Where's the coaster? Where's the coaster? Nothing was happening. But, however, I improvised. I used the Mystery Shack golf court. And I drove it up and just started there. And all I did was push accelerate and never let go.
Yeah.
And it was one of the coolest toy boxes I have seen so far, because he used, or she, I'm not sure, used invisible walls throughout the whole roller coaster. So whenever you transition to underwater, everything would change, and it would, like, even though part of the path looked like it was wide, you would still stay in one spot, even though I was on this cart.
Yeah.
When you were in space, or when you were in this frozen area, it was I loved it. It was really, really cool.
The kind of ironic thing now is because of the issue that we've got with the scalable barriers, no one could create this at the minute, because the minute you put a scalable barrier in, your toy box crashes out. So there is a patch coming for that specific issue. Jose has announced that they have worked on that one.
Now your toy box, however, I played it. I was a little confused at first because I assumed it was the glitch, but I got the hang of it, and it was quite challenging. But yet, if you finished it, you'd have the celebration at the end, and it was cool. I like how you did the side scroller. but you had to time your jumps right and getting to
Yes.
the hoops. It was perfect. I enjoyed it. It was
Um,
challenging and fun.
it was one of those things of I've only watched a couple episodes of Gravity Falls as a bit of research for the game and the animations, and I came across this that basically a mobile game which was a 2D scroller where you were jumping along and you had to jump over grass and logs and you had to collect coins. And I went for it and I thought, I could, and I just got that, that little light bulb went. I thought, I wonder if I could recreate this in Infinity. And so that's where the idea from, and that's why it's, I said right at the beginning, it was inspired by that game. So I basically just tried to recreate it, and I came across a few issues. I mean, one thing when the toy box went through and it was published, the timer comes up at the beginning. Now in my local version, the timer works perfectly, but I know there's been a slight issue with that toy. But the idea when I originally did it, like you said with that roller coaster one, I had the toys, the barrier so close that you only had to go forward. But if the vehicle turned, oh, that car, you just were in a right mess. You couldn't do anything. So I had to make
kept flipping. Yeah.
So I had to make it
wider,
wide.
right?
I had to basically widen it so you could get around, and I had to put two of the circular like collectibles together, so in order to enchant the thing of you getting one as you went through. But originally, there was about 3 times as many logs in my original version that I did, and I had bang smash, and so I was like, this is just not working. So I took half of them out, and the only to get basically give that feeling of speed, because literally I was like bang smash jump smash jump.
If you would have left all those logs in, I would have hated you. So I'm glad you changed it.
So I really did trim them out, but I was really surprised at that one, because I mean, to get the number 2 spot, I was so pleased when that one came through last week, because
yeah, man,
I was with this toy box. I wasn't really, because I hadn't really had that same connection with the characters. It was quite difficult, but I just took it as I want to take part in this challenge and just learn as I'm going along and try some different, that 2D stroller with a golf cart was something trying to do different things. So that was really cool. I really enjoyed making that toy box, and it's that thing as well. So sometimes you just need to find that idea and just to think outside of just doing, the basic ones. But no, that was a cool toy box.
Yeah, it was fun. It was definitely really fun.
I must admit, this week I've been working on 2 of the challenges. I've just uploaded 2 toy boxes for the challenges. I've done a Brave toy box, and I've also I put up a Christmas themed Santa's Reindeer Roundup toy box last night. So hopefully they'll be up on the things soon. So trying to keep just churning out. I usually try and spend a bit of time in the evening. So that's cool. And one thing I did do this week was I installed the Infinity app on my iPad. Now this is the 1.0 app, because what I wanted to do was I wanted to have a play around before the 2.0 one eventually, whenever that turns up. And I decided to try and build a toy box. And what I did was I basically set out all the ground, and I set out all the buildings, and I set out all the trees and stuff. And then I transferred it onto the cloud, and then I downloaded it on the PS4, and then basically did all the logic and all that side of things.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of those things. It was quite interesting to be able to do that, was because like one evening I was just sat there watching TV, and I'm just building the basics of it without being on the PlayStation. And for me, it was like almost like bonus time of being able to do some creations, of maybe not wanting to do 100% of the toy box on the iPad, but if I got 2-3 hours worth of building done on an iPad at my own leisure, I could do it at lunch or anything like that. That was quite an interesting way, and it's made me now. I can't wait for the 2.0 app to come out to really kind of be able to free up so where I can build my toy boxes.
That's awesome.
So
I actually started working on a Merida one, Brave one. Unfortunately, I needed to give up on that one, so I'm working on one for the next challenge, which is the Power Disc one.
Yes.
So hopefully I'll have my first submission there.
The one I did for the Frozen Santa Reindeer. I've kind of double edged on that one. I kind of put it as a Christmas one and a Power Disc one, but I'm probably going to try and sort of crack on to the and do another Power Disc one this week. Just because it's kind of something I enjoy doing, and I find, I'm just trying to do different things and just trying to learn. I did loads of stuff on a Brave one this week with logic gates and tried doing the storefront and all of that. In the end, I stripped it all out because the deadline was coming up, and I decided that I've spent 4 or 5 hours doing logic gates and storefront logic, and it's not working properly. Let's just clear it out and get the toy box done, because because at a certain point you have to, it's like if it's working fine 1 minute and the next minute it's not, it's like, well, there's no point me putting it up to Disney because it's probably not gonna strip out. It has to be working every time I test it before I'll submit it, because I basically had 3 like pressure plates to open a gate, and it worked, and then I came into it and it suddenly didn't work again. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll do that. I'll try that again in another toy box. So it's one of those things. It just takes time to go through, and I think that's the one thing. Right, I think that is all the toy box stuff. That was a bit of, obviously, it's been a bit longer because we were yapping about what I'm doing. Right, so we asked last week for some questions, and so people have sent in questions. Now this is pretty much going to be a thing that we'll try and do a little bit more often, and it might just be adding in a question or two in each episode, or we might just save them up and do future episodes like this. So if you have got a question about Disney Infinity, send us, say it on our Facebook, email us, drop me you can drop us a tweet at Vinimation King, and basically I'm going to save them up and we'll just try and do them whenever we can. So that's like a running thing on that one. So here are some questions. So let's bring up that screen. Okay, so Sleepwalker0611 put up a question on our YouTube one going, since this news came to light, do you think other Marvel heroes will have variants as well, namely Sentinel of Liberty, Captain America, Gamma Ray's Hulk, Stark Arc Reactor Iron Man, Space Armor Gamora, and Immortal Iron Fist? So that is that question. So Abe, I'll let you answer that one.
So basically, in a nutshell, do I think there'll be more Marvel variants? In 2.0, probably not. In the future, maybe. And the only reason why I say maybe is a little while ago, when I had my obviously my hearing impairment on a conference call with JV, he was talking about a separate part. He was talking about variants in general, how they like how people are requesting them, but if anything, we will be getting more variants in the form of a costume change disc, rather than the physical figure itself. But will we ever get one again? I would say maybe, because some people do like the way this black suit Spider-Man looks.
I think for me, it depends on how many characters they've got to churn out. I think, I can't, maybe if they come out with, when Guardians of the 2 comes out in 3 or 4 years' time, could we see another Gamora in a different outfit? Yes. But I think variants are one thing they've got to be careful of. If they oversaturate the market, they could kill the game off if they get too greedy with it. I think this year, one variant, or I'm not even counting Crystal Mickey, but compared to the 1.0, which had 8 variants, having one Spider-Man, great. I don't particularly like the Vita way they're doing it, but I think the Power Discs are their way of doing variants. They've got too many characters to that will make more money than a variant. So that's that one. Okay, so next question comes from a very merry unboxing. So that's Mark. Are people? Oh, he's got his notifications on. Are people going to be able to unlock a Brave and Stitch Skydomes at some point, or is it a glitch not showing it? Now, I did some testings of my own trying to get these, because obviously building a Brave toy box this week, and we have a Stitch challenge in a few weeks, so I was interested in doing this myself anyway, and I've been trying to work it out. Some people have been reporting that they if you stand there next to the Sky Changer and keep bashing the button, the Brave one comes up. No one, I think, has unlocked the Stitch one yet. and if you hit like a trigger option to the Sky Dome, I know then there was a tweet to JV asking about it, and it was kind of not at this time kind of thing. Do you know anything more about this one?
No, I actually myself have been playing with the Sky Changer, and I have not had no luck. The only time that I see those, including others, like for example, Asgard or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'll only see them in survival mode.
Yeah.
But as far as in the toy box, unfortunately, I don't know. Will we ever see them? I say again, maybe, but I think it might be in the form of a patch, like a DLC patch.
Well, it's only really it's in there. They just literally have to unlock. It's a bit like the I think it was the Wreck-It Ralph Sky Dome wasn't the one with the sort of game in the sky. It wasn't showing up on the list, but it was coming up in the game. So they just had to reconnect put it on the list. So do I think it could eventually come on a patch? I think it's a shame they don't just make all Sky Domes available within a toy box to either buy through the Sparks. I think that should be default. I think every Sky Dome should be available within the toy box. You know, I was even in the Hall of Heroes, Hall of Superheroes, sorry, last night, and I noticed, you know, there's a really cool sky in the background. It's all like really, because you're above the helicar area at night. It's like that we should be able to use this. We should be able to have access to these Sky Domes. You've made them. They've made the Sky Domes. So why not let us have them? You know, and use them because you know, the more if you've made it, you've done all the effort. Makes sense to connect the eyes and, you know, put them together.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so that one was from Mark. Okay, so next question we have. This came through on Twitter from DuGirl 2008. So she asked us two questions on Twitter. So in hindsight, would you buy the crystal figures? So I'll throw it on to Abe first off.
The collector in me says yes. If there's one thing that I do love is the Infinity figures, and yeah, are we let down because they can't really do anything like more that's special in the game? Yeah, it's a little let down, but I do like them. Some of them don't look that great. Some of them do. I'm a fan of them. Regardless, I've been playing with my Crystal Mickey recently. I enjoy them. So in hindsight, yeah, I would still do it. Yeah. So
I have two trains of thoughts on this. Right. If you're asking me as a player that's not connected to a website and just me just being, you know, Mr. Average Joe, don't bother with them. They're not worth the extra money, you know, especially with 8 of them. You know, if you've got $80-$90 to spend on crystals, go buy all the Marvel playsets, even if you're not into Marvel. They're not that amazing. They offer no real extra value. If you've got the original figure, they don't offer anything more. I still think the Crystal Lightning McQueen is a cool version. I think Sully looks hideous. I remember picking them up in Florida last year, and I just remember going, "This guy's horrible, absolutely horrible figure." You know, when there's no benefit to them, and I think that's the worst thing about the variant stuff. I mean, at least with sort of Spider-Man, he looks completely different, but yeah, so that's the side of things. If it was just you, I would say to anyone, if you don't want them, don't buy them. They're not essential. There's no reason to get them.
Right.
As someone who is on this site and is doing and needs sort of to have as much stuff as possible, I feel I have to buy them because of I need to have as much information and basically as much sort of use as much as possible. But in hindsight, they sit on the bottom of my box full of Infinity figures, and they rarely see any daylight. They just don't. I don't use them. Abe.
I play mine.
Yeah, unlike Abe he's got his big unit behind him with all his Infinity figures in. My wife says if I want to do that, I have to get rid of this one behind me or replace all the Dynamation. So I have to make a pick. What do I want to display? So that's my issue on the variant ones. She also
I'll be adding 2 more cases, by the way. That's fine.
We will be by the time we get to like 6.0 or something. Are there any Disney characters you wouldn't want as figures? So this one's a bit more. So Abe, I'll let you kick off with this one.
No. You start this one. I start the last.
So, what Disney
Nice
characters?
try.
What Disney characters don't I want to see? I think it's tricky. I think for me, I don't know if there's any particular character that stands out because I do not want that figure, because everyone is a fan of different characters for different reasons. I don't know if it's I don't want them doing all the, I don't, like we were talking about that Inside Out. I don't want them coming out with all 15 of those emotions. Right. Of all different figures. That to me would be overkill and kill the market. So it's not, if there's a main character in a game, it's like, for example, like Mulan, for example, is a perfect example. Would I like a Mulan figure? Yes. I'd love a Mushu figure. Mm-hmm. But I don't want, I maybe wouldn't want the second guard on the right, or there's the element thing of where the characters are like in Lilo and Stitch. I like a Lilo, I'd like a Stitch. I don't want Lilo's sister. Those are kinds of things of, if they're not necessarily major characters, I don't see the point to have them.
Okay, for me, I think, and I'm thinking about core figures, like you're talking about core figures. Like if you think of Mulan, you think of Mulan and Stitch. I mean, I'm not Stitch, Mushu. For me, I would not like to ever see figures based on, like, what is it, Home on the Range.
I've not even seen that one.
I don't want to see. Unfortunately, I wasn't a fan of it. I don't see these figures being any entertaining. I mean, I'm okay with a Paradis, but Treasure Planet, I wasn't a fan. The characters on them, yeah, some of them are cool. Even the main guy, I don't know. That's just my personal preference.
It's that difficult thing, because obviously fans of Treasure Planet would be now shouting at you saying, "How can you say this?"
And I'm sorry, guys. It's just my personal.
Yeah, I mean, there was, for me, you see, there was a whole period of Disney movies that I wasn't that much into, and I've been picking them up because there's been a bit of an offer here, and I'm trying to compilate all the classics. Now, I've got Treasure Planet still in its cellophane that I picked up for £3 that I haven't used yet. But there was a whole range, like you said, Home of the Range, Chicken Little, Treasure Planet, Atlantis. There was a whole era of movies, and it all depends on your age group. For me, I look at them as being a bit like, they're not that sort of, they weren't a great period for me personally, because Pixar at that time was basically sort of kicking butt and making amazing characters and movies, and Disney was, you look at it now and you think, well, Tangled, Wreck-It Ralph, Frozen, they have upped their game.
Right. And see, for me, I think, like you mentioned a few, like Atlantis, I would totally see it. Chicken Little, I would probably want townspeople, not actual figures. I mean, it's like,
Chicken Little would be alright. Chicken Little would be okay. I wouldn't want all the the little the little buddies that go with it. Good for townspeople, but Chicken Little as a single figure, I'd be happy with that. I'd probably pick it up. But to me, I think it's like, go with the core range, get the core figures out. Don't just, if they go down the line of just doing figures for the sake of doing figures, just because it makes more money,
I'll drop out.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing of, it's like with, there's a lot of figures out there, a lot of characters, and they can't do every single one. So it's like Brave, for example, was a perfect example. They took an entire movie and they only went with Merida. Now, they could have done, I think the triplets are slightly tricky to do, but they obviously took a movie and went, well, there's only one character that we want. Maleficent was another one. They only took Maleficent. They could have done I'm still surprised they didn't do an Oriana figure. Oriana, but yeah. The right letters just pronounced, yeah. It's like those kind of things. I can see why they've done it, because they've gone for the main character, which is going to make money. Because, like we keep saying, with Skylanders and Amiibo, they can't afford and Nintendo are having the same issue. You can't have all these subpar characters sitting up on the shelves, because if they don't hang around very long, it's costing cost them money, because they're not selling when they would rather have a character there that is. So but this is where we can open it up to you guys on this one. What Disney character don't you want to see in Disney Infinity? You can comment below as well and get in touch, because that'll be funny, and people are going,
that's a good one.
Yeah. I don't want Goofy, and I don't like any of the classics. Or there'll be other ones going, I don't want Darth Vader. And there'll be like millions of us going, yes, we do.
Oh, then I'll be the one.
So that's
all the Treasure Planet fans are gonna say, no, Darth Vader.
No Darth Vader for you. Right. This was another one from I think it's Takui. Can Violet fly? And the quick answer to that was no, she can't. That was the that was in a response to I think because I've been doing up some videos on the YouTube channel for all of the original characters on Disney Infinity 2.0, and yes, Violet can't fly. There was comments a while ago of asking us what characters, what abilities we want to see. Buzz and Syndrome were constantly being saying make them fly but they have since come out and said they're not coming for this game. I think it was that same thing of what characters do you want to see, and
3.0 maybe.
Yeah, I think it was more of a right. What do you guys want? We're gonna work on this for the future, because I think they realised that they slightly dropped the ball on the abilities for 1.0 characters. Because I'll be honest, when I play with the 1.0 characters, it literally feels like you might as well take your controller, take your hand behind your back, and just try and play with one hand, because they just.
Wait, you can't do that?
No, I can't do that. No, I just feel like they aren't. It just doesn't work when you put, especially if you're in a 2-player against somebody on one of the 2.0 characters. You've got no chance. You'd have. It's good if you're a really advanced player who give you a challenge, but it wouldn't be a fair fight.
Yeah.
No, so that's that. We have a couple of other questions. Kenneth on our Facebook group asked us, do you think Darkwing Duck will be in the next Disney Infinity game? Abe, you can go first on that one.
I'm on the fence. I'm probably 65% yes and 35% no. Only reason why I say that is when I went to E3 this year and I was talking to one of the producers, they're like, he literally said, he actually did this to me. He's like, we were this close to getting Darkwing Duck in the game, so for now we got Power Discs. And a lot of people keep asking for Darkwing Duck, and even JV talks about how people keep just hounding him about Darkwing Duck. So is it possible that he might make it through to 3.0? I'm like, 65% yes, but I would love him. I love Darkwing Duck, so.
I'd love to see him in the game. Kid of the time, yeah, Darkwing Duck in the game would be fantastic. But this is where I have a slight issue with it. Now I grew up, and when I was a teen, I don't know quite when Darkwing Duck came out, but I was a bit older when Darkwing Duck came out, and so that's cool. I remember it, and you've got people of my age and younger coming up below at me, kind of going, "Where's Darkwing Duck?" But if you took a 8-10-year-old today and showed him Darkwing Duck, he probably wouldn't know who he is. And there you've got your issue with Infinity, with selling the markability of a figure that the kids of today maybe aren't as aware of. And that's where the problem comes in with doing, and it's a problem with all characters, because if it hasn't translated to a new generation, of the current generation that are, who they are aiming this at, us as adults, we're the add-on, we're the bolt-on to this game. It's the kids are the ones driving this, and if they're not interested in Darkwing Duck, that's the problem. That's where any character that's sort of slightly owed has a problem, in my view, anyway. Do you see where I'm coming from, Abe?
So that's probably why we only see these things on Paradise, kind of like Gus, for example.
Well, Gus, I don't know where that one came from. I mean, that was...
Well, it's like an older generation, but you only see him in a Paradise. And just like Darkwing Duck, you only see stuff of his in a Paradise. Yeah. Well, you know what? I completely agree with you that it's a very great angle to look at it, but the kid in me and the fan in me wants Darkwing Duck.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that when people... If the thing is, as well, is you've got to look at the internet sort of hounding people and saying, I want this, I want that. It's very easy for the internet to have a different mentality to the kid and the parents in the store, and they've got to cover both. They might put out a Darkwing Duck figure, and they might say, right, this guy is not as maybe as common or as well known. So they could say, well, we'll make half as many of these as we do of the Inside Out characters to cover their chances. We sit here and go, well, we've got all of these characters from Disney Infinity 2.0. Do we think that they've made the same quantity of each figure? Are they doing rerun? There might have only been one run of, for example, Syndrome, but they might have done 10 runs of Rocket Raccoon, because it depends on how they're selling. Not all things are equal. I run a business, and I know not when I've got a set of lines, there are popular ones that I need to replace quicker than other ones. So that is the thing with Darkwing Duck, is they might go, because I think that's what happened with the first game. Francesco, Syndrome, Violet were the slow. Maybe they perceived them to be slower sellers, so maybe made less of them, like Nintendo have been having with their amiibos. Certain characters that are less known maybe had less production runs, and that's how they can get around it. But that's just more of a business way of looking at it. That's how I look at it anyway. So that's a personal opinion, sort of looking at it maybe slightly from a different angle. Okay. And then Kenneth asked the big question of what Disney characters do you think will be in the next Disney Infinity game? So that one's really open, and also feel free to comment with your own ideas. Anyone can do that, and we'd love to hear your feedback. So, since I went last time, right, so what characters do I think are going to be in Disney Infinity 3.0? I'm going to put Star Wars on the shelf at this point.
Right, Star Wars on the set, yeah.
So I think we're going to have Inside Out is going to be something that we're going to see a lot of. I think we'll see Goofy or Minnie. Goofy or Minnie will be the classic for the next year. I think in terms of characters, I'm just trying to think what other movies have they got coming out. Is Good Dinosaur out within...
I believe it's late next year as well. I think their Inside Out comes up early. If not, it was pushed back even further.
I could maybe see Cinderella, because they've got a new live action movie out next year for that. So those are the kind of the first ones to pick in. I think in terms of what people are asking for, it's really tricky. My core mind goes to what they're looking at. I also am going to throw this one out. I'm going to think Olaf. I think Olaf is going to be in, because I think they're just going to go ka-ching, give me an Olaf. And not be, if they bring out a Frozen play set, they might as well just they can just have that machine ready to print money. If they do that, so I think an Olaf character is just a shoe-in as one of the top. Even if they only do 10 figures, I think the amount of people requesting Olaf. I love a Figment as well. That would be fun. But yeah, those are my kind of picks. I'm going to throw that over to Abe. What do you think?
I'm definitely with you with Inside Out. I also feel like Cinderella will be one of the next princesses we get. I was thinking about I'm sorry, not I already said Inside Out. Into the Woods. It is a musical. It is coming out Christmas. However, I feel like that one is going to be kind of like The Oz, the Great and the Powerful.
Yeah.
Like, they were planning to move forward with them, but they saw that the movie didn't do so well, so they had enough time to stop production on that and not move forward. That's what I feel.
I think with Inside the Woods, or Out, whatever it's called.
Into the Woods, yeah.
Yeah, it's too late. It should, if it was going to be in, it would have been in this year, because it's out in the life cycle.
Well, I mean, I still think it's still possible, because it could be something like In the Fence, kind of like you're mentioning Frozen. Like, you know, they can now throw Frozen in, even though they didn't do it before.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think you bring on a really cool idea with Frozen, but definitely I would introduce Olaf and maybe Kristoff in a playset, and then you have your other two that already exist. But
and upgrade them.
As far as whoops, there goes my notes. As far as other characters, I was thinking definitely seeing the introduction of other classics, kind of like Milan. I've been thinking Milan. I think Milan, soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely Milan. For some reason, I just have this inclination that she'd come. And for some reason, I feel like they kind of missed out on not introducing Peter Pan, even though Tinkerbell is like at a different scale.
Yeah, and fairies.
These are toys, and there doesn't matter what scale they're in. So I think Peter Pan might be cool. But one that
Yeah.
I would really want, kind of like you said, Figment would be so cool to bring from the parks. I would really love Robin Hood. He would be so
Yeah.
cool. You already have archery introduced thanks
Yeah.
to Merida and Hawkeye, so he would be perfect, and
But I
it'd
think
be kind of cool.
he's kind of to me as well. I mean, I grew up with Robin Hood. I must have seen that. That was one of my favourite movies as a kid. But I do wonder if he's in that same zone of Darkwing Duck when are kids watching Robin Hood. That's the thing on that side. But
Well, the only thing that leads me to that though is because they do re-release these from the vault
yeah,
every 10 years or whatnot,
yeah.
and that was not that long ago.
I
I
think
think it was
it's
like a year or
Pinocchio.
two.
Is Pinocchio out next year? I think it's being re-released. Um,
Um, I believe so too
yeah.
because we had a re-release of Sleeping Beauty recently
Yeah.
too.
So
So,
I mean, a Pinocchio thing. I think it really depends on how those response to that question that went out a few weeks ago was. What characters do you want to see? That is the poll. That's what they did last year. That's why we got who we got. I think as they've gone down this toy box only idea that they can kind of pretty much do anybody.
and then obviously we missed one that I for sure think will definitely, without a doubt, be in the next one, whether it comes with a playset or not. But Genie. It's something that everybody's been asking for. It's definitely a tribute that people want for Robin Williams and his passing, but he's just such a cool character, and the abilities that he can possibly do would be amazing. If they included him as like a team up disc, I feel like they're missing out on
Yeah.
opportunity.
I think the thing is, I think the problem they found with Genie was that he'd be deemed too powerful for the game, so they've got to tone him down a bit. But
Well,
I
you do have the Hulk though.
yeah, well, yeah, but that's the Hulk. I think the trouble is, I think they'd be better off trying to finish off some of the things they've started. Wreck-It Ralph, Mulan, Frozen, trying to maybe fix the problems with the figures the people have got already, and then trying to go after more new lines because that's I think is a bit of an issue like with them is that they kind of put out some of these characters like Frozen and Wreck-It Ralph. Tangled is a bit of a different one that doesn't seem to be quite, and Jack Skellington, that doesn't quite have the same impact that people seem to feel like something's missing. But
Although a lot of
that.
people have been asking for Nightmare Before Christmas playset. There's a huge fan base for them.
Yeah, I think they probably it's that thing, isn't it, of what characters they could put in.
Yeah.
Right, so that's that one. I mean, that's a completely open-ended one, and we'll probably be raging on that one for months yet. And
Yeah.
then we had Jill over on our Facebook group. So she is an old gamer, and she was having a problem with the forest game. Tell me why I can't collect the loot in the beginnings of the Brave Forest game, and what do I do next after I open the first chase? I get the castle piece, but nothing happens. So I'm going to throw that one
Okay.
over to you.
Well, basically, it's those little sidekick characters that come with you. There's three measurements. I believe it's like their attack, their defense, and then there's the last one, which is the little eye. That's called vision. The higher the vision, the more ability you have to open up, like to either go into the tree trunk or to go into the well. So that's definitely how you can collect loot. As far as the chest goes, those little chest pieces, you just attack it. I think it's with the
Yeah, they open
not
up.
with not with the trigger one, but like with the actual melee attack, and
Yeah.
it opens up, and it either releases what do you call it, a little sidekick character loot
Yeah.
that they can wear to increase that vision or defense or attack, whatever, or it'll release sparks, and obviously we all like sparks, so we can buy more toys. But that's basically it. And as far as what do you do next after you've opened the first chest, keep going.
Yeah, just keep running.
I think I found a total of I mean, I found tons of chests, but I found a total of 11 at one point pieces of sidekick loot. So you can go from, I've seen from as low as 8 to 11. So
Yeah, I mean,
just keep going.
yeah, I mean, I just pretty much found that I actually went through the toy box for that game, and I didn't really was paying a huge amount of attention to those chests. So I mean, I completed all the levels, and I've still got lots of stuff to unlock. You don't necessarily, personally, it's not something I'm really that worried about. If I go back in at some point in the new year, I'll try and get them. But they're not essential. They don't unlock anything of any major use, even for the toy box. As long as you finish the levels, that's where you unlock all the decent stuff. The loot is not
that you can use. Yeah.
Yeah. And she also asked, I've looked at some of the community uploads. Can I download and can I only download them? Moving that camera around by mistake. I'm trying to move. Yes, where was I? Sorry. Can I only download and play those at particular settings? I cannot save them to my PS4. If so, how do I continue through them if I need more time? Thank you for your help. So there's a couple of things there. First off, can you down? The thing is with 2.0 is it's much more community based. So if you go onto your toy box, you've got your game discs and you've got your toy box. You go into your community settings, you have the Disney toy boxes, and you have all those lists of toy boxes that you can download. Now you can either do one or two things. You can either download them to your PlayStation 4. Now you're saying you can't save them to your PlayStation 4. You can download 300 toy boxes. So you can download them onto your PS4. You can also just press the button, it temporarily downloads it, and you can play it, and then when you come out of it, it removes it. So there's two different I only basically do the temporary download because I don't want loads and loads of them stored up in my hard drive. So you just literally click play level, and you'll just play it. It will temporarily download it. You can play it. So you don't really need to worry about that side of things.
I think that's where her confusion is. I think she'll hit the button and it temporarily downloads. You do have an option to download it onto your PS4.
There's a little button on the bottom. I think it's like download or.
Yeah, and whenever you open up your saved toy boxes, it'll appear there.
Yeah.
Or
in your toy box game disc one, depending on how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's probably why you're having that issue as far as not being able to play it at different times. But as far as what Roger said, yeah, you can have 300 toy boxes, so you can download away and save them for later, or you can just keep your downloads clear and open for all your builds. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's that thing of like time. It's a bit of a different one because some toy boxes are built where they're open range and you can spend as long as possible in there. There are other toy box game discs that once you complete the challenge or the time runs out, it ends and you get kicked out. Because when I build my toy boxes, I like having them as a nice little package. So when you finish your challenge or you run out of time, I kick you out because I want it to be that immersive piece of a toy box. I don't like, I like it to be closed off. And that's how, so that thing of can I continue for them if I need more time, it really depends on the toy box because some of them, if you've got 13 minutes to defeat as many villains or venoms as possible in the haunted house, like from Pirate Steven's toy box, that's all you've got. You've got 13 minutes because that's part of his challenge. But if you've got like the recent, I think it was the that one that came out earlier, that big one, the Gravity Falls Adventure, there's no time limit, there's nothing in there, and you can roam and run around as long as you like. So it's very much toy box specific. So I think that hopefully that answers your question. So hopefully that's where we go. The only other thought I had was if she hasn't got her PlayStation 4 connected to the internet, that might be why she can't download anything. That was the only other wonder of what I had a slight just thought of them. That may be an issue. But,
well, I mean, she can see some of the community uploads, so I'm sure she has.
Yeah, she must have online. So yeah, so that is, so that pretty much answers all of this week's questions. Like I said, you can always send us in with more questions. If it's quite in depth, I might even make a quick video about what it is specifically about. But generally, we'll try and answer them on here. So you can get in touch with us through all the different methods. You've got Twitter at VinomationKing. I'm also doing bits and pieces on Instagram, Facebook. You can, especially our Facebook group or on our Facebook page, you can send us things there. Send us an email. All different kinds of things of ways of getting in touch with us. Remember to hit that subscribe. You can even just comment on one of these questions on these videos, and I see all the comments on all of the videos on our YouTube channel. So that will come through as well. So that's that. Just a quick reminder again about this week's competition for a toy box starter pack that we're running over on VinomationKingdom.com. So that'll be running to the end of the week. So you want to, if you want to win that one, get in for that one. And hopefully we aren't too far off of it on the YouTube channel. That once we hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to be doing a giveaway. We are only about 60 away, so the more people that tickle that subscribe button, the better. I'm going to keep nicking that from Black Nerd Comedy because I like that term. Tickle that subscribe button, and you just gotta, just tickle it. It's over here somewhere. But yeah, so that's cool. So anyway, I think that pretty much rounds everything up. Abe, have you got anything else you want to add?
Just to piggyback off of our competition, like you said, this is the last week, people. This is the main one. Please, please, please go in and get free stuff. It's awesome. It was sponsored by the amazing people at the Disney Infinity team.
And amazing Spider-Man then. But
yeah, exactly. But please go ahead and if you like free, amazing, awesome figures like we like to play and enjoy, go and get it. Why not?
Get it. Even if you haven't got an Xbox One, because this is the thing that a few people said, well, I haven't got an Xbox One. Right, so I did it. I got a PlayStation 4 with this Marvel starter pack. I brought the Xbox One's toy box pack just to get Merida, Stitch, and the toy box game discs for my game, and I sold the Xbox One game because it didn't
free
matter.
Stuff.
So there is that way of if you just just because it was the cheapest pack available. So yeah, it's just because even if you've got the Marvel ones, and you want those figures, you might as well give it a shot. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Next week we will. I think the aim is to be a special Christmas edition next week. I think that basically just means we wear fuzzy hats, but we are trying to get. I've got a big bag. I don't know whether to wear my Scrooge Bar Humbug one or my elf one with the big ears, but we are trying to get Travis onto a special Christmas edition. It'll either be next week or after Christmas. But yes, so that is the aim. So we'll be running through the holiday period as per normal. Because pretty much for me, I still have to, I'm still on my normal schedule. I've only got Christmas Day off. That's the pain of having your own business. You just have to. Christmas is just one day.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Be sure to check us out at VanimationKingdom.com, and we shall see you guys in our next video. Waving out. Everybody waving.
Adios.
Adios, amigos.
Adios.
Adios.
Hasta la bye-bye.
I'll be back.
My precious.
Cheers, guys.